The media is starting to realize exactly how little influence they have. January 7th, 2025, CNN data shows analysts how little voters cared about January 6th as a political issue, but they nearly ran their entire campaign on it. What's wild is the writing has been on the wall since the last midterm elections. Reporter claims Dem lawmakers told her nobody gives a bleep about January 6th. During a frank discussion about the impact of the January 6th committee hearings, a reporter admitted Democratic lawmakers told her that no one in their district back home cares about January 6th.
Does the January 6th hearing break through at all? Is this more proof it does not?
I don't think it does. I've talked to two separate Democratic members of Congress in the last couple of weeks about January 6th. Obviously can't say who. And both of them have said offhandedly, nobody gives a bleep about January 6th when they're talking about their districts and the way that elections play out. The reality is, obviously, it's a very important issue. Obviously, like I've been covering this nonstop for the last year. It's important. It's a key part of understanding American history.
Oh, it's important because you've been covering it. Absolutely. Because what you covered, the narrative that you want people to believe, that's what's important. So this writing has been on the wall since 2022, and they've ignored it. Top tier issues are material concerns. How much are people paying for their mortgages? How much does it cost to get milk and bread? How much does it cost to get gas? And their response to all this was, hey, let's gaslight Americans by telling them they're delusional when they already have all these things.
Do you think it's possible that your plan just is not popular with the American people right now?
I don't think it's that our plan is not popular with the American people. We know that the American people are feeling the high cost. We understand what they are feeling. Because when you look at inflation, when we look at where we are economically, and we are stronger economically than we have been in history. When you look at the unemployment numbers at 3.6%, when you look at the jobs numbers, more than 8.7 million of new jobs created, that is important. But we understand that gas prices are high, and we understand that food costs are high, and that is because of a once-in-a-generation pandemic and also Putin's war, and that's just the facts.
The Biden administration, a case study on how to lose a second term. Even Bernie was trying to warn him.
What I'm going to tell you today is not something that you hear very often on Fox or CNN or ABC or the Washington Post, or in fact in the halls of Congress. What I believe is that now is the time not to defend the establishment. We are moving toward an oligarchic form of society.
I actually dig in a lot more to that exact phenomenon in some articles on itschromo.com. Check it out, guys. Do you guys think the left buys their own rhetoric on this stuff, or is this just manipulation trying to turn out the vote? Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I appreciate you. CNN's data analyst Harry Enton recently looked at how much voters cared about January 6th as a political issue, and the numbers were surprisingly small. Democrats in the media, including a lot of people at CNN, thought this was their ace in the hole in November, but they chose poorly because voters just did not care. People were much more concerned about border, inflation, and other serious issues. This is why people like Sunny Hostin of The View look especially foolish when they try to hype January 6th as some sort of historic tragedy.
I think we need to find moral clarity, in this country.
What a joke. A tribalist like Sunny Hostin claiming that we need to find moral clarity. Lady, you need to find some moral clarity.
You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery.
This lady is crazy, out of her mind. Are they canceling this show yet? So it's not canceled, but ABC did decide not to renew Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar's contracts. See, this is why nobody trusts the media anymore. Do you guys have any idea how on earth these people are so surprised by this?
If you go back, 4 years ago, right? Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible to be president. The clear majority of voters said yes, 56%, and that was including removal from office. But of course, Donald Trump won the presidency, and part of the reason why was because views on Trump completely shifted including Trump's role on January 6, 2021, should make him ineligible for the presidency. By 2023, 2024, it was just 47%. So we saw this drop of about 9 points, and that, of course, is all the difference in the world, going from a majority to short of a majority.
That's because people figured out that you were lying, because the FBI's involvement came out, because Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of D.C. and the rejected National Guard requests, and the Capitol Police chief coming out and speaking out against you guys on Tucker Carlson.
And, of course, Donald Trump won the vast majority of the other 53% who did not believe that his role on January 6th would make him ineligible for the presidency.
Still a big number, but not enough.
Correct.
Right.
This 9-point shift was tremendous.
All right, let's talk about the why behind it, Harry.
Yeah, why? All right, so part of the reason why is, okay, was Trump greatly responsible for the attack on the Capitol? You go back to January 2021, it was 48%. By the time of December of 2023, look at that. Again, a clear shift down to 37%. This is an 11-point drop, very much mirroring that drop that we saw that the folks said that, of course, would make him ineligible for the presidency. So that is part of the reason why, right? Fewer folks thought he was responsible, greatly responsible for what happened on January 6th. But it's not just that. It's that people simply put didn't care as much about the attack on the Capitol. Look at this.
I wonder why. Maybe it's the double standard.
Burning cars and smashed windows. A small group of protesters dressed in black, their faces covered, armed with hammers and bricks.
Oh, a small number. And I'm sure they were mostly peaceful, right? Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Facing off with thousands of officers on site, many in riot gear, confronting them with flashbang grenades and pepper spray.
All of a sudden, the police officers started to spray pepper spray, and they got our audio technician. They're coming to see us running because they're going to throw more flashbangs.
You notice how they happen to always be on the side of the leftists. How is the media always on the side of the leftists? It's crazy. It's like the media and the government, always on the side of the leftists. What is up with that, man? And so many of these mainstream media organizations get government subsidies. So that whole relationship, it just sketches me out.
The chaotic scene just blocks outside the secure area of the inauguration and parade route.
I personally have anti-establishment slants, but I don't think that this is anything that I want to be a...
That guy's smart. I mess with that dude. That dude's smart.
This checkpoint is closed!
Before the swearing-in ceremony even began, protesters tried to block checkpoint entrances. During President Trump's speech, several demonstrators were escorted out of the area. Several officers injured during the protest today, and more than 100 people arrested.
When Donald Trump took the oath of office, the people here...
The media always makes it clear what side they're on, don't they?
January 6th is your biggest memory of Trump's first term in office. By the time of 2024, look at this. Look at this. It was just 5%. Just 5% of Americans.
That's a barometer of exactly how much influence the media has lost in their attempts to try to manufacture our consent.
And among Republicans, it was just 2%. So the bottom line is fewer Americans faulted Donald Trump or thought he was greatly responsible for the January 6th attack. And more than that, as it went into the rearview mirror, far fewer folks thought that it was their number one memory.
You know, it's wild. Check out my Chris Cuomo video, man, because the left still is not getting it moving into the future that they need to change their messaging and how they relate to their base. But in terms of January 6th, I think this clip pretty much sums it up.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. It's nice to see the press actually participate in some truth that's being spread around the Capitol, because many times we've got a lot of rhetoric and misinformation that gets spread. I really appreciate Matt Gaetz and Elise Stefanik introducing this legislation so that we can get on the record the people that support President Trump, that understand and are willing to declare that there was not an insurrection that took place on January 6th. President Trump did not engage in an insurrection on January 6th. This is nothing more than election interference. It is on full display. And we would appreciate if the media would just start coming forward and admitting to that.
because the manipulation games just aren't working anymore. Can't they see that? Is Trump secretly behind Trudeau's resignation? I'm just kidding, but we get into Trudeau's resignation and some of the stuff that I think are key factors behind it and the fallout and everything that's going on kind of on the light view of Canadian politics over this video over here. Did you guys know that Zuckerberg wants to be the next Elon Musk? Check it out, man. It's kind of cracking me up.